Okay, I'm going to concentrate on some of the things in the moon hologram, or cluster nucleus, and I'm going to try and go in easy, just to see if I can pick things up. I'm in tungsten and in vivid. I got a bit of sharpening, just a touch. Just going to move it over. Okay, there are really big orbs all over, and a whole lot of big orbs. Look at that big bulge right there. That's a big one. See it? Okay, those are not physical structures. Actually, they're not actual structures. They're just clusters of organisms, but not in our dimension. These are energy organisms clustered in a way to create an image, so that we think it's some sort of a natural formation, and that it's an object, but actually it's not solid. You could see right through it. You could see that it's just all energy and in motion. And the entire thing right there, you can see that it's transparent. Okay, you can see the counterclockwise movement of the orbs right there, and those are orbs moving around the entire half a moon image. But all that motion is created by these larger orbs, which are spinning super fast and creating a high vibrations frequency and also a high velocity of the orb movement within a larger cluster. And this is all to produce energy, just like you see right there. So the entire thing is set up as an energy machine, and different parts energize, for specific purposes. And some energize more than others, depending on the needs of the orbs in the nucleus, but mostly depending on the needs of the orbs in the larger cluster, which is the parent cluster that surrounds that entire nucleus. And the reason why you see these smaller orbs zooming around like that is because they're transparent and they're not in our dimension. So you see like a shadow effect or a transparency. It's not an object or any kind of terrestrial nature. It's not land. It's not any kind of physical structure. This is an energy structure. So this is a lot of large orbs, both dark and light, meaning bright, like that one there. It's hard to keep it on just one orb unless I hold it. I'll let it just come by itself and catch a few. But you can see that the entire structure is very transparent and that it's just a cluster in space. But all of space is like that. This is just a cluster that's energized and that it's more densely packed than normal. And that's called a nucleus. And that's how stars are created. And that's what this thing is. It's a star. It's not a moon. Okay, you can see the different structures. This is an energy source for a lot of orbs in that entire larger cluster, in the space surrounding the entire moon hologram. And no matter where you go, see this whole thing. When you take a photo of it, it looks like some sort of a pyramid, but it's not. See from far away, it looks like it's pyramidical, but that's just the way these things, form clusters. And those things are like miles above the surface, hundreds of miles from the tops. Some of those are inside the nucleus itself, so they don't even reach the surface. Like those that are harder to see in the background. There's a lot of them all over. Okay, the darker ones that you can see are closer to the surface. Okay, that's why they're cooler. As you get into the nucleus, center, things are pretty hot inside. Very hot. And then you have, parts like that are absolutely active and producing all that light and all that energy. So this is not a sunlight reflection or anything. This is actually an energy structure. I'm holding it on that cluster. You can see the orbs right there. I'll go back so you can get a good look. There's a lot of different structures, but they're all energy structures, or just clusters. I can't call them really structures, they're clusters. They appear like, in the form of structures, but they're actually clusters of living organisms. And These are all energy organisms that formed the moon hologram. But they're, part of the larger parent orb cluster that surrounds it, and that's space itself. Like these things make stars, large stars, larger than our sun. They make up our sun, but they make up large stars that are hundreds of times larger than our sun. Possibly they make black holes as well. Some of them may actually be antimatter. They'll make, black holes and other types of antimatter traps that'll capture light and keep it where it won't escape. It's not just black holes that can do that. There's a lot of things in the universe we haven't seen yet, and we don't know about. But we don't even know anything about these, and they're close to us. Just want to get this one on video, just to show you. I gotta hold it so there's a shake. I'm at so much zoom that this is just me breathing. Every time I talk, the camera shakes. Anyway, right here you can see that it's like all transparent and translucent. And it's like that all over, except where it's bright. Ooh, you see that big orb shoot out? See how fast that happens? In a blink of an eye. And that's just going slow, taking off. But I caught it. For some reason, I have a feeling when they're going to do it. And I catch them most of the time. I just have a sense of knowing when they're going to do it. I don't know why that happens, but it does. And that's all that matters, that it does. It doesn't matter why. But there's so many of them. There's smaller ones shooting off all the time, and they're just not as visible. Okay, I lit it up. I've opened up the exposure to see those there at the end. See if I can catch anything. Like just like one of those giant alien orbs that has a face. But that's too much light. I'll bring it back. Darken it. Okay. Okay, so I've darkened it quite a bit. It's a good little camera. And this mini Hubble. You can do whatever you want right during the video instantly. They did a good job on this. See, you can darken it. I can lighten it. Can do whatever I want, but not change anything. That's one thing I don't do. This is all the real thing. And here they are in space. Now you can see how many there really are in this kind of light. Okay, so last time I was speaking about the grid. Okay, every one of those circular rings is in a square. It's hard to see that there are squares. You have to like concentrate on how they're moving, but just their motion creates a grid. It's an invisible grid, but it's a grid nonetheless. And you have to be conscious that it is a grid. You see in the background all that green stuff? That's just more of them. What you're seeing in the foreground is the ones that are closer. You see in the back how many there are? That's in space. The whole thing is like that. There's no difference between up front and in the back. It might even be more packed in the back. You can see how many there are. But they're all doing the same thing, except they're not all moving in the same way. Some are moving faster, some are moving slower, some are moving in another direction, but still counterclockwise. All of them move counterclockwise. Some vibrate, the vibration frequency is different. And that's not just in a ring like that, but per orb. Each one of those orbs, the vibration frequency could be different. You see the ones that are really charged up, they flash. You see how they interact? They never touch. They just, it's like an atom. Wow. That is a burst of energy right there. They can create energy anywhere. They don't need to be in a big cluster to create energy. They create energy amongst themselves. That's why the universe is electromagnetically charged, the entire thing, because it's full of these things. And this is all happening in a different dimension than our own. That's why it's so hard for people to believe it, because they can never see them. Okay, you have to be able to see that in order to believe it. Look, you see how it comes in like snow? Okay, that's a cloud that just went by. But those are orbs now, there's not a cloud. Okay, there's some clouds, but I can see right through them anyway. It doesn't matter. This is right through the cloud. Okay, they don't stop me. So that's why I did all this work on the camera. I don't want to be stopped by weather, because they're the ones creating all the weather. And, you gotta know what's going to be coming in, because they could chuck a rock anytime down here and make a real mess out of everything. So I don't know. That's about it for tonight. I just wanted to show it to you, and look at that ring. It's like horizontal. You see it? And you see that's just, you can see the difference between the clouds, and then there's orb clouds. like that. Okay, you see the Oort cloud in the background, and you see the clouds in the foreground. So they're not the same. Ooh, see a jump? It's not very happy. Okay, you see how bright that is? And now you can see where the clouds are. And you see a jump. I locked it in. This is a real dark Oort cloud mixed in with our clouds because they're down here too. It'll pass in a minute. Okay. They can't do that for a long time. But you can tell the difference between the real cloud and an Oort cloud when it comes in like that. And that's the kind of things that create, like, hurricanes and cyclones, because the spin of the orbs makes the wind currents, and they whip up the oceans and everything and change the weather instantly, or build up to it anyway. And that's how you get all the big storms. But they also do it in the water, in the oceans, and they can change the course of the ocean current. And the same way, inside the Earth itself, where the iron core is, there are electromagnetic fields that whip up like cyclones. Well, guess who's doing that? They have absolute control over this entire planet. We think we're in control, but in actuality, they control the whole thing. And they're not just the moon hologram in another dimension. They're down here in another dimension. But every now and then they pop up in our dimension. So that when they do, that's when people see them. And they just see like one orb out of like a billion, that's lit up, and they miss the rest. So I'm showing you the rest of them. There's one that's lit up, and look at how many, there are all over here. And these are the ones that are not lit up. Look how many there are. That's the same here on Earth. You just don't see them. But, they're in another dimension, and they're hard to see. Boy, that looks just like an eye right there. Like a big eye. All that. I'll get to it. I can find it. Back on. That thing right there. It's a big orb. But see the shape of it? It's like a big eye. I feel like it is an eye. The way it's shaped, like it's staring you right in the face. Boy, I could see a face in that whole thing. Right there. Looks like a face. You have to use your imagination. If you were an artist, you could see a face right in that. You see, it just changed. Because it's never the same. It keeps changing. You can see many things. Different people see different things. You know, now it looks like something totally different because it depends on how much you zoom in, the kind of an image you get, because it's a multidimensional space. It's not just a single dimension that you're looking at. So in a multidimensional space, the distance or the zoom level counts, because at different zoom levels you get different images. And right there, that's a face right there, right in that whole picture. And every time I see it's a face, they cover it up. They move in and mess it up. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's like what you see that counts. Everybody can see the different thing, you know. That's what happens in a multidimensional space. There are different things. It's not like you're seeing things. It's just that you're seeing different things than I do or other people do, or everybody sees what they see according to, you know, their life experience and what kind of impressions they get by viewing the video. But this is all real stuff, and this is a multidimensional space, and these are real energy organisms, and they're in a cluster, and this cluster produces a lot of energy because it's a star. This is not a terrestrial object of any sort, and it's not a sunlight reflection, because the object itself, I can't even call it an object. The cluster itself is transparent and translucent, and it's producing its own energy and its own light. And that's done by the velocity of movement in a counterclockwise fashion, and their vibrations, frequencies, and their interactions with their, you know, magnetic fields, how they interact with each other. And the whole thing is a system that's a universal system, and it's all for the purpose of creating energy, whether it's in a cluster like this, you know, that's concentrated, or whether it's just in space, like over here, where it's less concentrated, you know, like that, a little closer, like that. And you can see the pattern, and the pattern, you know, it is never the same. It appears like it's the same, but it's never the same, because the velocity is always changing. It doesn't stay constant, and it goes through cycles, and the cycles are unpredictable. And I don't know how they're created, but they're unpredictable from my standpoint, because I can't understand why they change the way they do, and how come, you know, sometimes the Earth's revolve faster than at other times, and why their vibrations frequencies are different. At certain times and different at other times. It's very hard to determine, the causes of all these things. But the whole thing is that it's really happening. Those are coming right off the moon hologram. Here, you can see it right there. See them shooting off. So it's not just like one orb. That's one big orb that you saw before. But look how many of these are coming off all the time. Okay? They're all around it. They're not just coming off. Okay? They're also going in. Some are coming out that are charged, and the others are going in to be charged. Because the nucleus is like a charger for all of them. And it only lets in the ones that need to be charged into the nucleus. Okay? So, that's the velocity. It's faster than any bullet or any rocket or anything. That's really moving. And they're not even moving at their top speed. This is just like their normal pace of existence. Because when they really get moving, they move faster than the speed of light, because they are light. The organisms are light. This is light energy. And the whole thing there that looks like a moon is an illusion. It's an illusion caused by stacking layers up of multidimensional entities and layering them in different colors and patterns so they appear to look like an object, a terrestrial object of that. And like it would have craters and things like that, but there are no craters. The entire thing is transparent. There's not 1 ounce of soil on that whole thing, or even one pebble, let alone a rock. But they are capable of exerting energy on objects that are real, like asteroids and things like that, or comets, and they can push one over if they decide to very easily. Because they're all over the universe, and they can just nudge one over and make sure that it, comes right down here and destroys this whole thing. It's done. They've done it before, lots of times in prehistory, and wiped out everything. So we're not in control, and this is just an example of how little control we do have with these things coming around and checking out whatever they want to check out, even nuclear silos and things like that, and the military can't do anything about it. No one can, and they do it with impunity. And they can shape-shift because they control energy into any kind of a form and give you the impression there's something that they're not. They can even shape-shift into actual material or solid objects or subjects, living matter, and act it out. Like, they want to be something, they'll really do it. Like, if they want to be some kind of creature, they'll turn into one and really be that creature. And you go and try and kill it, and then they just go into a bunch of ores like that, and there's not much you can do about it. So this has all been shot through clouds, and it doesn't matter whether there's clouds or no clouds. This camera will pick it up. The real thing's there, it'll pick up no matter what. Look at it jump. See those orbs glowing like that? See? It's trying to hide that part. They're all very smart, highly intelligent, multidimensional entities, energy beings, whatever you want to call them. But they're not stupid, and they don't like not being in control. They like complete control over everything that happens on this planet, and they have it because they have people down here working for them. And they made sure a long time ago that that would be the case. So but even if they had nobody here working for them, it wouldn't really matter, because they can just come down here in a flash and do whatever they want. Anyway. Okay, so this proves one thing. The camera works very well even through thick clouds. Yeah, I did a good job. Thank you for viewing. This is supermushmouse. This is the moon hologram. Have a good night.